Hello everyone, this is Doe, welcoming you back to another sort of Convallaria video on my channel. In this video, I'll give you a quick rundown of the Universal Derivation mode and go over all the mutations featured in the first season. I've managed to clear 25 battles in 3 days. Apologies in advance for not including gameplay footage from the test server. I've requested permission from the developers to release footage early and am currently waiting for their response. With that said, let's get into it. First, let's start with the basics. Universal Derivation is a limited time event designed to test your strategic and roster management skills. It runs from December 6th to December 26th, and you'll need to have reached Voyager level 40 to participate. The event features 30 battles spread across 20 days, and the rewards are absolutely worth the grind. If you complete all the battles, you'll earn an impressive haul: 2,400 Hope Luxites, 450 Astral Shards, 1 Castalia, 3 pieces of equipment and plenty of Primordial Powder, EXP materials, Elysium coins, and other goodies. To put this into perspective, these rewards are equivalent to completing 2 full seasons of the Tower of Adversity while ranking in the top 100. With the Tower of Adversity currently being reworked, this is an incredible opportunity to snag premium resources. Every 5th battle in the mode provides even bigger rewards, such as Astral Shards and Primordial Powder. By the time you finish Battle 30, you'll feel that the grind was absolutely worth it. Now, let's break down how Universal Derivation works. The mode is designed to push your roster to its limits. After each battle, your units enter a fatigued state and can't be used again until they recover. You'll get 1 recovery attempt daily and can store up to 6 attempts at a time. Managing these attempts wisely is crucial for success. Enemies don't fully reset between attempts. If you fail or settle, their HP remain as is, meaning you can chip away at tougher battles over multiple tries. Be mindful of your TP because it won't recover until you use the recovery potion, so use those tactical skills wisely. Every 5 battles, the enemies gain new mutations. These include effects like Curse of the Dead, which drains your HP, or Extreme Speed Ambush, which boosts their stats the longer the fight lasts. Adapting to these mutations is key. You'll need to build a diverse team, as units can't be reused until they recover. Thankfully, you can swap gear between fatigued and active units, allowing you to optimize your strategy without needing duplicates of every item. To tackle Universal Derivation effectively, you'll need a strong game plan. Start by building a core roster of at least 15 fully built and optimized units. Healers are especially important in this mode, so make sure you have a few ready to go. For the early battles, try to clear with minimal refreshes, deploying the minimum number of units required. Solo clearers with self-sustain are particularly useful here. Always keep an eye on the maps. Some maps allow for environmental kills, so units with knockback abilities can really shine. Save your recovery attempts for the toughest battles in the final stretch, as things really ramp up around Battle 20. For solo clearers, self-sustain is critical. Units like Momo or Alexi can handle enemies on their own while conserving resources. Meanwhile, knockback units like Simona or Akambe are invaluable on maps with environmental hazards. Let's talk about the mutations you'll face in battles 1 through 5 in the Universal Derivation mode. This section sets the tone for the challenges ahead and introduces mechanics that will test your team's synergy. In these battles, enemies have 2 key mutations to watch out for. The first is Tough, which doubles their maximum HP and reduces all percentage-based damage they take. This means straightforward DPS strategies won't be as effective. You'll need to rely on sustained damage or burst setups to take them down. This buff cannot be dispelled or countered directly, so plan your approach carefully. The second mutation is Curse of the Dead, which comes into play whenever you defeat an enemy. The unit delivering the killing blow is afflicted with the curse, which causes them to lose 26% of their HP at the end of their turn. This effect can stack up to 3 times, so overextending or letting one unit take all the kills can quickly backfire. You'll need to balance your damage output across multiple units to avoid overloading any single character. For strategy, it's crucial to group enemies together and take them out with AoE attacks whenever possible. Units that excel at clearing multiple enemies in one move, like Beryl, August, or Gloria, are ideal here. If you're running solo clearers, make sure they have solid self-sustain options such as lifesteal effects to keep themselves healthy despite the curse of the dead. On larger maps, bait enemies toward the middle to maximize the impact of your AoE skills. When delivering the final blow to an enemy, ensure the killing unit has at least 78% HP to mitigate the effects of the curse and keep them viable in the fight. These early battles are all about efficient clearing and resource management. Don't waste too many refreshes here, as the challenges only get tougher in later stages. Use this opportunity to test your roster and get comfortable with the mechanics before things ramp up in difficulty. Moving on to battles 6 through 10, the difficulty ramps up with some new and dangerous mutations that will test your speed and team composition. The tough mutation continues to be active, meaning enemies still have doubled HP and reduced percentage damage taken. This can drag out battles if you're not prepared to deal significant sustained damage. But the real challenge here is the introduction of the Extreme Speed Ambush Preparation mutation. Every time an enemy takes damage or finishes an action, they gain a stack of this buff. Each stack increases their attack by 8%, boosts their critical chance and critical damage by 20%, and even adds an extra square to their movement range. These buffs last 3 turns and can stack up to devastating levels if you stall too long. Unfortunately, this effect cannot be dispelled or immunized, so you'll need to play aggressively. The strategy for these battles revolves around controlling the flow of the battle. Clearing the stage as quickly as possible is essential, as the longer the fight lasts, the stronger the enemies become. If you can't achieve a fast clear, tanks become critical to holding the line and absorbing hits from increasingly dangerous enemies. Despite their buffs, most enemies are still within one-hit kill range if you bring the right damage dealers. Units that excel at multi-kills are your best options here. Having a healer or a tank on standby can help manage situations where you need to stall, but the goal is to finish these fights before the ambush stacks become unmanageable. This section is all about balancing speed with safety. Don't rush in recklessly, but don't let the enemy stack buffs either. Prepare your team accordingly, and you'll make it through this stage without burning too many resources. Let's dive into the mutations for battles 11 through 15. Things get trickier here, as you'll face a new challenge on top of the existing tough mutation. The tough mutation remains in effect, doubling the enemy's HP and reducing percentage-based damage. But the real difficulty comes from the Revenge Banner mutation. This effect triggers when an enemy is defeated, placing a banner at their location that reflects 65% of the damage taken onto us within 5 tiles of the banner. To make matters worse, this effect cannot be dispelled or immunized, and the enemies are immune to frosty, burning, and liquor tiles, so traditional tile mechanics won't help you here. To succeed in these battles, damage over time units are your best bet. These units can chip away at enemies without triggering large bursts of reflected damage. Momo, Lily-Will, or Stinger are fantastic options here, as they excel at applying steady, safe damage. If you're using AoE nukes, be prepared for the unit dealing the finishing blow to potentially take heavy damage or even be taken out by the retaliation effect. It's important to avoid relying on single-target nukes, as these will leave your attacker extremely vulnerable. Instead, focus on AoE units with a balance of survivability and output. Positioning is also critical. Make sure your allies aren't clustered together, as the banner's retaliation effect can quickly wipe out units if they're too close. This stage rewards patience and strategy. Don't rush kills, and focus on controlling the battlefield while minimizing the risk from the Revenge Banner mutation. By using DOT and AoE units effectively, you'll safely navigate this section without too many casualties. Let's move on to Battles 16 through 20. At this point, the stakes are higher, and the mutations present new challenges that demand precise planning and execution. In these battles, enemies gain the Strong Shield in Hand mutation. This provides them with a physical shield and a magical shield equal to 100% of their current HP at the start of the battle. These shields are not stackable but are incredibly durable and cannot be dispelled or bypassed through traditional means. It's a major hurdle that slows down your damage output and forces you to bring the right tools for the job. On top of this, the Revenge Life Loss mutation adds another layer of difficulty. When your units deal damage, the enemy inflict this debuff on your units, which causes them to lose 21% of their HP at the end of the turn for every stack of the effect. The enemies are also immune to Frosty, Burning, and Liquor tiles, and the effect cannot be dispelled or removed. Overextending or failing to manage your damage output can quickly lead to your team wiping itself out, so caution is key. The strategy for these battles revolves around using damage over time units and piercing damage dealers. DOT effects allow you to steadily wear down enemies without triggering excessive life loss damage or shield effects. Karis can be a fantastic option for piercing damage, but there's a catch. Against elite enemies in Battle 20, her piercing attacks are classified as ranged, and these enemies are specifically designed to dodge up to 2 ranged attacks per round. If you're bringing Karis, you'll need to carefully consider when and where to deploy her to maximize her effectiveness. These battles reward patience and careful resource management. Battle number 20 will most likely require 2 to 3 teams to clear. Plan your team compositions thoughtfully, and you'll navigate this section with minimal casualties while conserving resources for the even tougher stages ahead. Let's now discuss battles 21 through 25. At this stage, the enemies get even tougher, and the stakes are higher as new mutations come into play, forcing you to adapt your strategies once again. The tough mutation persists, doubling enemy HP and reducing percentage-based damage, but that's only the beginning. The real challenge here is the Forced March Preparation mutation. At the end of every turn, enemies gain 1 stack of Forced March, which increases their movement by 1 tile and boosts their attack by 30%. This effect stacks up to 5 times, and when they reach at least 4 stacks, all their damage is converted into piercing damage. This makes them extremely dangerous and difficult to counter if left unchecked. To make matters worse, Forced March also dispels all debuffs from the enemy and converts them into buffs, which last for 2 turns. Once again, this effect cannot be dispelled or immunized. The strategy for these battles revolves around speed and efficiency. Similar to battles 6 through 10, you'll need to kill enemies as quickly as possible before they become too powerful to handle. By the 3rd round, most enemies will be capable of one-shotting your units if they've accumulated enough stacks. This is where tanks become absolutely essential. They can absorb hits and buy your DPS units time to clear the battlefield. At this stage, most battles will likely require more than 1 team to clear. You'll need to manage your resources carefully and ensuring your gear is optimized for each encounter. Focus on bringing a mix of tanks and burst damage dealers to keep the fights manageable. The key here is to stay on top of the battlefield and control the pace of the fight. If you let enemies accumulate Forced March stacks, you'll quickly find yourself overwhelmed. Keep your tanks in the front, manage the flow of the battle wisely, and prioritize taking out high damage enemies first. With the right strategy and team composition, you'll be able to push through these battles and prepare for the final stretch. Finally, we arrive at the last stretch, battles 26 through 30. These stages represent the ultimate test in Universal Derivation, combining previous challenges with even more punishing mechanics. However, I have to apologize. I wasn't able to fully complete these stages during my time on the test server due to time constraints. That said, I can still give you valuable insights based on what I know. The strong shield in hand mutation returns in these battles, but with a slight adjustment. Enemies now start with physical and magical shields equal to 60% of their HP. While not as high as before, these shields still present a formidable barrier to your damage output and cannot be dispelled or bypassed. The most dangerous addition here is the voltage mutation. This mutation is similar to the attack mechanics of the Weapon Trial 2 Magician boss fight. When enemies with this mutation are defeated, they gain stacks of revenge voltage, and at 3 stacks, their allies unleash piercing damage equal to 60% of their HP in a cross-shaped area of 5 tiles around them at the start of their turn. This effect cannot be dispelled or immunized, making positioning and careful execution absolutely critical to avoid massive retaliation damage. While I wasn't able to personally clear these stages, I believe the key to success lies in carefully managing the battlefield. You'll want to focus on whittling down enemy HP until they're all within killable range, then eliminate multiple enemies simultaneously to minimize the impact of revenge voltage. Proper positioning will be vital here. Ensure that your units aren't clustered within the cross-shaped retaliation range, and keep your tanks or more durable units ready to absorb any unexpected damage. Drawing from the Magician boss fight, it's also important to use units that can control the pace of battle, such as those with crowd control abilities or energy restoration. Planning your kills strategically while keeping your team spread out will help you navigate these final, brutal stages. Once again, I'm sorry I couldn't personally showcase these stages as I haven't got the permission to share test server footage before the event goes live, but I hope this breakdown provides a solid starting point for your own attempts. If you have any additional insights from your own runs, feel free to share them in the comments. Let's work together to conquer these final challenges. As usual, this video is sponsored. If you haven't, download the game to support this channel. I'll leave the link in the description. I'm also working on a 5-star Karis showcase video, so like and subscribe to keep yourself updated when I publish her video tomorrow. Stay cool, stay crispy. This is Doe signing off. Best of luck, and I'll see you in Karis's video.